This is going to be just a live time scripting for Vcom AI. I'm just going to go ahead and look at a couple bugs and see if I can fix any of them. And I got about 30 minutes before I have to head back to work, so I'm going to go ahead and start that timer now. Let's go ahead and get that going. Alright. So, I have a list of bugs here that I need to fix, and so I already fixed a bunch of them. I'm actually thinking I'm close to release, but I always like to kind of sit and look at a few other ones to kind of play around with it, see if I can come up with any more issues. I'm looking at my list. I have a list of bugs here that is poorly written in a notepad file here that people have reported on the forums and various other areas. The biggest one that's concerning is this mod makes our server run at 2 frames per second after 20 minutes. Now this isn't much. I asked for more information. I didn't get any more information. So I have a feeling that I'm not going to be able to reproduce this issue. But I do have a dedicated server, so maybe we'll launch that up, and I have a little dynamic campaign thing going on in there. Maybe I could just spawn a bunch of units and see what happens. That's one idea, so we'll see. So what I'm going to do is, first thing, before I do that later, because I don't have time right now except to dedicate and get that all going. Within this 30 minutes, I'm just going to go ahead and compile it to make sure everything's nice and compiled. And I'm just working on the mission, the scripts right now, because it's just easier than me having to constantly tweak it with a mod. Yeah. So I'm at my lunch break right now, and I have a little bit of time, and in between clients here. So while time is kind of slow, I have no clients between like 12 and 1, so I might as well spend some time doing what I like. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and use this RTSE and enable Zeus. And here's Arsenal here, just in case I want to get any loadout I want, but it's not a huge concern right now. Okay, so let's see here. So right now I'm doing this with Vcom AI, but I also work on Degeneration, which is one of my favorite mods that is of course not released yet because it's just too big for one person to do. This area you're getting from here is I'm running RHS right now, so that is probably why. Alright, so I really see no bugs that I haven't resolved, so I'm just going to do a double check because you never know when things will break. What I want to do is just kind of watch now in an interesting area. Maybe I always use Tanuka because it's got nice fields and town. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll put a squad of blue 4. Give them a second to get activated. Now let's do squad of up 4 here. And I put them far away, and I probably will scoot them up just for the sake of time. But I put them far away because their finding cover and all that should be a little bit different than normal people expect. So I can immediately see that these AI deciding to go into column formation here, which is interesting. We'll see if they stick with that. And these guys over here are going into staggered column, so that's a little bit different choices. So what I'm going to do, because I want to see them generate waypoints, I could give them a destroy waypoint, but if you do that with Zeus, it prevents them from generating extra waypoints. So I want them to move around a little bit. So I'm going to give them a move order. But I'm going to make go into combat mode. That's where most of the problems tend to pop up. I want them to be combat here. Let's see. So I'm just initially looking here. You can see this person moved for cover here. These dudes are still kind of moving. It looks like a lot of them decided to move up this left side here. So it's never going to be perfect. Like, yeah, anyone being really critical can look at this and go, wow, one grenade can do a good amount of damage here. That's okay. I can't be perfect with that placement. Like these guys right here, 3 of them decided to warp inside this building here. They're moving. Okay, so I'm seeing generally they're working pretty well. Now since I gave them a move waypoint. It's not that far away. They are going from cover to cover, but if the AI are too far, like say if I put them like 2-3 kilometers out, and you give them a waypoint to move out this way, and they're in combat mode, they will not stick to cover until they get closer. I think the distance is 1 or 2 kilometers, then they'll start doing it. Yeah, noticing this guy's kind of going inside this building. You can kind of see how they move, which is really nice. You can see Blue 4 is doing that. And they try to have guys, or one guy will watch the rear like this. Well, I mean, you know, there's a hill right here, but you get the idea. There's one guy watching this way while these guys move up. And now I'm thinking here, okay, these guys are moving pretty freely. Maybe they're just trying to get into this hard cover here. And what may have happened is they were here and they did a search for trying to find cover in this area. They didn't find enough cover, so it decided to move them up a little bit before they went to go seek cover. Now I'm concerned these two people aren't moving. Oh, they are moving. Okay, so they were just, you know, following orders there, watching. Can I see Op4 here generated 3 more waypoints. Looks like Op4 is, what are they doing? It looks like they kind of just want to stay right around in here, in this area down here, and then cut up left, and then push up for that way. Interesting. Blue 4 still hasn't decided to make any more waypoints. So one thing I'm trying to notice is any kind of frame rate hits, any kind of massive drops. Now when I'm recording, I'm obviously going to get some frame rate drops here. Okay, Blue 4 finally made up a plan here. Firefight is ensuing. So Blue 4 looks like they just kind of want to cut across this way. Smoke grenade was popped. So cool, they're using that effectively. This guy's probably under heavy fire. Okay. So let's see if they react well. So Op4 hit a wall here. And this guy is just... You can see that Op4 is slowly trying to shift to the left here. It looks like these guys are getting really caught under a lot of fire and getting stuck. He's heavily suppressed. He's trying to move, and he just keeps getting shot at pretty hard. Keep in mind that I have turned their accuracy down to really low, just to see movement. So this guy actually killed someone. You can see they're slowly shifting. That's awesome. Is it towards the direction of the waypoint now? It is. It is. Looks like they're slowly shifting up this way. And they're staying relatively together. This guy here is, this rifleman over here, probably not moving because he's heavily suppressed. And he finally went down. You can see Blue 4 still pushing up that way. You can see they're not really pushing up that hard. This guy, for some reason, getting a little more brave. Uh-huh. That accuracy, though. You can see the general flow of Blue 4 looks like. And this is a little different. I'm like, okay, so why is squad leader? This isn't squad leader, this is the AT guy. Where is the squad leader? Squad leader's right there. Where is he? Oh, this is the squad leader. So like, why is he way out here? And I'm like, I want to make sure, is that some kind of bug? Looks like he's running back in. Sometimes AI will run out to try to get on top of a hill to shoot into the town. And that's actually a vanilla behavior. So like, okay, so I have to kind of balance what's vanilla behavior and what's not. Looks like he's finally decided to come back. And this guy's starting to finally fall back, but he's getting under a lot of fire again. Their accuracy is just so bad. Oh man. Look at that. Look at that accuracy. I love it. It's like playing with a bunch of 5-year-olds. He doesn't know what to do. So confused. So, you know, overall, are they perfect? No, but I like that it's staying relatively. I mean, let's look at the bodies here. Actually, what's this guy doing here? Looks like there's someone inside of a building right now. Yeah, looks like he's coming out right now. So overall, we can look at you can kind of see that they're staying pretty well together. They all, looks like most of the bodies are in this town. Now, we had an issue before where you'd have people running way out here to the distances, and this is much more together. Squads are still split, they're still within, I would assume that's a acceptable range. So that's real nice. You can see there's still the try to flanking maneuvers going on here. They're trying to encircle. So it looked like Blue 4 kind of set up a base here, and then they flanked around and try to encircle. This guy here is just the last alive dude. Yeah, so, you know, I'm pretty happy about that. I was getting some lockups in that though, and I wasn't getting that yesterday. And so I don't know how much of that is due to my recording or not. And that doesn't seem normal. So what I'm going to do is just... So putting down normal AI will even... No, maybe I should do a comparison here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do a comparison of frame rate impact. So if I wait for my game to... Yeah, my game is definitely loading real slow here. Look at that. There it is. So something is going on with my computer, moreover, it seems like. Maybe something's downloading in the background, Steam. Maybe BattleNet. Yeah, something's going on. Anyway, what we'll do is, let me enable, I think in Steam, there is a way to enable settings. In-game. Aha, here we are. It's a frame rate counter. Bam. So, with this game right now, with me recording, I'm getting 50 frames a second with 40 to 50. Okay, we'll use Zeus to compare. So we'll do 40 to 50. Over here I'm getting like 60 frames with no AI play. So I'm going to place 12 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 blue 4, and this is a lot of dudes. 12 blue 4 and 12 op 4 groups. Infantry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So with Vcom AI on, I go from with let's see, how many units is this? It's 12. Each of these have 4, 8, 9. And I am terrible at math, so we're gonna go ahead and do this. 4, yeah. So we have 24 times 9. That's 216 AI. And I'll look here. Using Zeus, I'm getting roughly 22 frames a second. So looking at this guy's report, okay, he says after runs at 2 frames a second after 20 minutes. Well, I have 216 AI running Vcom right now. That's 22, and that's obviously going to tank more if I tell him to go into combat. If I zoom out, I think half this is also graphical rendering here. What if I stare at the ground? If I stare at the ground, yeah, look at that. Get around 36. And that's maybe, I would hope, more, instead of graphical rendering, that'd be more, around 36 was just the processing. So now what I want to do is the same thing. Get those guys, and I want to look up, whoops, not that. Oh man, I lost a command recently that I really needed. Let's see here. I accidentally deleted my Armor 3 somehow. So that was really awesome. Let me find this command I'm looking for here. This is what everyone wants to see. So if I just really need to know, you know, I'll just redo it right now. So I need to make sure, double check if I go into subnet here. Oops. Subnet. Okay. So what I want to do is automatically put everyone in the active list so they don't execute Vcom AI. It's a little, you're not supposed to do it this way, but it's going to be the easiest. So I'm going to do while true do sleep 0.001. Actually, running equals true while running do sleep 0.001 for all units. Okay, what I want to do is Vcom AI active list push back x underscore x. So I need to do a check if x, if not x in Vcom AI active list, then this. Whoops, wrong buttons. Okay. Oh. Alright, let me do this. That's hard for me to code in that. While running, do sleep if okay. What we want to do is have it sleep so it's not executing, just destroying my computer. Yep, and see, here's my problem. This is just a silly mistake. So, what I need to do is like this. Like this. And inside all units, I need to do if the unit in question is not in Vcom AI active list, then push that list back. Okay, now that should work. Okay, and you know what? I should probably do this to get rid of that error. It's false. It'll stop it, give it a couple seconds, and run it again. Okay, so what I'll do is prevent AI from being executing Vcom AI scripts. So if I now do the same thing, I'm expecting to have some frames back. Okay, I won't lie, Vcom AI has to impact frame rate because it is adding additional commands and scripts. Alright, that's the thinking. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I'm assuming some better frame rate. Okay, we can immediately see I was getting around 20 before. I went around 30. Like 22, 20, so that was 8 frames-ish. And the biggest thing is if I zoom in here, I get around 40. So running Vcom AI locally and having 216 units active at once will impact your frame rate by 8 or so frames. Okay, if you are the host. If you're the one controlling the AI, that is a lot of AI. So even if I get back out here, my frame rate drops back down. See, it goes in between 24 to 30. Yeah. So it's kind of hit or miss. So that's good to know. And you know, I've always known that Vcom AI does have an impact. But going down to 2 frames a second after 20 minutes, I would need more information on what's going on. I'm not sure what that would be about. So that's one thing to be aware of. Now, one thing I want to do while we're here is I wanted to add in, we have a couple minutes here still, and I wanted to make it so I want to add in silenced weapons doing something. And I had this code here, I gotta find it. Let's see. There's a way to know, I want to know if there's a way to know if a player has a suppressor or a silencer on their weapon. And I thought over here I had now what I want to do is find a way to do it without having to create a list of class names for suppressors. Because that would be bad. I don't want to have go through every mod that I've ever played and find the class names for all the suppressors and then keep doing that. Because that just would become a pain. So I'm going to see if the dynamic campaign here, if I save that command somewhere. I did not. I don't think I did. Okay, so let's bring up my handy dandy scripting stuff. So, and I'm doubting. Yeah, I'm really doubting. What's this near supplies command? And I just got curious if this is a way to have AI rearm themselves. I don't think that's what I think it is. I'm just curious if there's even like a suppress, you know, silencer command. And there's, you know, I don't think there was. So what I'm going to do as a player is grab a silencer. I'm going to see if I can find a way to detect if I have a silencer. So go ahead and grab a sound suppressor here. Bam. So now what I need to do is transform it. It's weapon items it? I can't remember if this will pull. Am I doing that command wrong? Oh, weapons. That's right. Okay. So I can see this pulls all my weapon items. I got the pointer F, the muzzle is in there, S and D. C, caseless. Okay, so that kind of pulls what we have. So I'm looking at this command and it looks like the silencer is always going to be in the second position, or code-wise 0, 1, the first position. So I bet if I don't have something like these other areas here, it is just quotes. So if I take off my silencer and then run that command again, I can guarantee that that will be quotes, empty. So now that just gave me a really easy way to detect if someone has a silencer. So let's go ahead and write up that script. I'm just going to write up a kind of mock version of it. So Vcom AI wep suppress check Let's make that shorter. Okay, weapon suppressant check. So I want to know. So created on 8/4/2016. Detecting if a unit has a suppressor or not. So I want to know if the unit has a suppressor. Now I'm thinking in the back of my mind there's a couple ways I can go about doing this. Let me see the time I have left here. Okay. So I want to have this check run every so often, and then flip a variable to let the scripts know that yes, indeed, it has a silencer, or should I do it after every time they fire? And I'm feeling after. It's going to have to be every time they fire because the cooldown, of course, because of the way that the scripts work. So the way the silencers or Vcom AI I have this script called hearing aids that every time someone fires, it alerts people within the distance. Now, we want to reduce this distance if, say, oh, this didn't get saved right. Oh, that's a shame. That's interesting that it didn't get saved right. Okay. So say every time someone fires and it's in the distance, then this should, they get seen. But if you have a silencer, then it should lessen the distance quite significantly. So, or you know what we might do is just have the script abort and let the vanilla handling of that take over, because that would probably be just as it could. So what if we okay. What I want to do is actually optimize the script a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and I don't know, it might be optimized already. Alright, I'll do that later. So what I want to do here is add in just a check here, just right immediately. Check if unit has suppressor on weapon. Okay, so I'm going to do unit call, what would it be? We'll call it this. Okay, and return, let's see. Suppressed, okay, sup. So if not, then, boop. So it'll call and get that variable if the variable is true. Oh, wait. Yeah, if it's not true, which means then the weapon isn't suppressed, then it will continue to suppress the script. So the weapon sub check, we gotta get this done. So what I want to do is the same command we had before as weapon items. So we would do this. Let's see. Weapon list. Do item list equals weapons. Can't remember the command now. Weapons items. That's hard for me to say. Weapons items. Weapons items. So weapons items this. Okay, item list equals weapons items this. And then what we'll do is if item list select, so this one up here, looking up here, 0. So it looks like 0. We have a nested array, so we have to do select 0, select 1. Okay, so that'll select the giant array. So this is a nested array. It'll select the giant array first, and then it'll select the second position here, or 0, 1. So I'll do select 1, and then you want to see if that is equal to the quotes there. Then And we'll create a variable here called return equals false. Then return equals false. Actually, what we want to do is we're going to flip these around. Okay. At the very end, we'll return this variable. So what'll happen is every time the person shoots, it'll pull the weapons items. It'll always be true unless that item is obviously true. Then it will return false. Okay, so that's perfect. So what I'm going to do is come into here. Here's hearing aids. Just format. So I'm going to do is see if I can change this on the fly. I know we're up with time here. I'm going to go ahead and just at least test this. So I do need to get going back to work as well. Okay, and then if I run the script to redefine those functions, you can see in the bottom left, false, I do not have a suppressor on. Okay, now if I put that suppressor on, it's showing true. So what if we spawn in a group of enemies real quick? Oh, I need to turn off this one command. Running equals false. So we'll put a group of guard infantry here. Okay. So we got some Vcom AI dudes right here. I'm hoping this would work. We'll have to see. I may be too close still. Okay, so they're aware. Actually was enough to trigger them to go into combat. But they don't know exactly where I am, which is nice. These are the bullets. Okay, so that was a little too close. They were able to hear at least the bullets hitting. That's one thing Vcom AI does. They can hear bullets hitting next to them. So right here should be a good distance to test for suppressor, right? Okay, I don't have a map for some reason. Okay, it's a full clip. They're unaware. So now if Vcom AI, I would hope, take this off. Now they're aware. There we go. Now we have a script that takes suppression into account on a weapon. It's very basic right now, but I think we're gonna start there because sometimes basic is just gonna be the most effective. So we're gonna start that, and you can see that you can even see with that script enabled, with they know exactly where they want to go to attack to check out the source of the sound. You can see here. Even when I had that suppressor on before, they kind of knew something was up, but they didn't know exactly where I was. So I actually really love that effect. I think that's really neat. Okay guys, thank you for watching. Maybe I can just try to take on these dudes here. One last thing. I got just a minute here. Let's see. I'm really bad at this game actually. Oh, there's one already. I can tell he's not suppressed. If I come around here. And with a reduced accuracy, I'd hope I could. And with their accuracy is probably the same as mine. So one thing I always want to do is kind of play around with them. Like, it's kind of hard sometimes when you're just watching from the top perspective. How does it feel as a player to fight these guys? And so I'm kind of seeing there. Okay. Oh, got me. That was stupid of me to poke out that much. So, yeah, so far I'm pretty proud about that. Well, thank you all for watching. See you next time.